Hi, good night, class. Okay, so today I'm going, well, actually, now I am looking for my stuff. There we go. Great. Team charter. Uh, I have established our groups, and on the same attendance sheet, if you look at the tab at the bottom, you will see group. And under group, there's a list. Each group I've categorized groups according to location. So once you've got through with that, I need for you all to complete your team charter. This is pretty important because this class is self-directed learning, plus it's heavily team-based. As a such, we need to establish how you are going to be conducting yourself as a group. I've had throughout my many times in terms of teaching this class, many situations where groups have multiple issues in terms of communications, etc. So as a result of that, I'm now asking that all groups now create a team charter, meaning how you're going to conduct yourself as a group from now to the semester. Now, I've provided a guideline for you on the classroom. I've also provided you a link on that guideline so that you can have an idea in terms of what working as a team on an online environment is all about. Right, so let me go through this quickly with you so that you will know exactly what you have to do. As you notice here, this theme charter is actually with 5% of your mark. It is the expectation is that you complete it by next week. If you are unable to complete it by next week, please let me know beforehand because that's the expectation. Right. And I'll just read it through. For this course module, you are required to work in a team comprising of 4 to 6 persons. At this point in time, groups have assigned 5 persons and 4 persons. There are a couple of people who have not as yet signed on to eClassroom. When they do, I will fit them in accordingly. So take into consideration the learning and assignment requirement for this class, prepare a team charter. On eClassroom, there is a folder with all your assignments, so you should have an idea as to what is the work requirement for this class. So for guidance on operating an online environment, please view the below link. While the document will be on eClassroom, the link is there. So if you click on the link, it's going to take you to um, Illinois University, and they have a nice, pretty nice website giving you guidance with regards to how to operate in an online environment. Now, expectations. So the group charter should detail team members, meaning all 4 or 5 persons, role and responsibilities relative to the class and for each assignment. And therefore, there are 2 aspects of the team charter. The first being that you need to talk about from an overall standpoint, how you as a group going to conduct yourself. So from an overall standpoint, in terms of the class, you need to talk about the objective of your group. Of course, the objective of your group is to conduct team-based activities for the semester, and of course, you've got a couple of team-based activities. The roles and responsibilities of each team member relative to the class assignments in total. So, who's going to be team leader? Who is going to be responsible for communication, who's going to be responsible for coordinating, what each person's responsibilities are from an overall standpoint. Mode of communication, how you're going to communicate among yourself as a group. Quality controls. So while you have established some roles, responsibilities, etc., there must be performance context or quality control. So therefore, what are you going to put in place with regards to work deliverables, communication, team commitment, etc. So how basically are you going to communicate? And if I will just scroll along quickly and I'll provide you with a couple of them. So for instance, in terms of work submission, um, persons must submit their work in an accepted manner, and therefore, what is the expectation that you provide that each person must provide in terms of submitted in terms of grammar, formatting, whatever's your expectation, and they should cover the content in terms of the full scope of work, or if um, there's research and then there is research. Um, references, use of references, whether or not they take a return call, whether or not they are there for group meetings. You identify basically what you want as a group in terms of performance contacts. So quality controls relative to work deliverables, communication, team commitment, etc. And performance indicators is kind of like what I just indicated to you. Now, that's from an overall standpoint. Now, for each team assignment, you need to provide details for each team assignment. And I have provided you with all the different team assignments. And therefore, you're going to read through that. And then based on that, state what's the objective of that particular assignment and what are the roles and responsibility of each team member relative to that particular assignment. And therefore, establish your project plan in terms of how you're going to conduct that team assignment, identify the task associated with it, how long each task is supposed to be, the responsibilities of each team member relative to a particular task, and what is the expected deliverables from those tasks. Basically, here is drawing on your learning from MGMT 210, which is project management. And the reason for that is because at each team assignment, you as a group, you're required to evaluate your team member contribution with regards to that particular assignment. And therefore, it means that in your team charter, you provide sufficient details so that you can fairly judge or assess your team member contribution. Now, so this is your team charter, and grading assessment will, of course, whether you provide sufficient details relative to the overall responsibilities as a group, and then for each assignment, what are the project plan responsibilities, etc., associated with it, which basically means that you need to plan your work from upfront. This is not the only class that you're doing. You've got about 4, 3, or 2 different other classes. So in your project plan, take into consideration other classworks. Okay. Right. So that's it for your team charter. The expectation is that you as a group complete this by next week. And I will now provide you after this. I'm going to actually go through each one of your assignments so you have a guideline with regard to that also. So have a good night. Thank you. And